I've decided you're going to change places. I don't think sitting with friends is doing concentration in this room many favours. She started going from desk to desk, swapping one in for one out, amid much grumbling. I was convinced I could smart-mouth my way out of this. Joanna, you can stay put, and Georgina, you're at the front. What? Why? Obviously, the front row was reserved for the problematic, lazy, or outcasts. This was deeply unjust. The seating layout respected invisible but rigid castes, swats and oddities at the front, averagely well-liked who worked for good approval ratings like myself and Joe in the middle. At the back, the super-cool girls and boys like Richard Hardy, Alexandra Caister, Daniel Horton and Katie Reed. Rumour had it that Richard and Alexandra were kind of seeing each other, but also kind of not because they were cool. Come on, shift. Oh, miss! I got up with a sigh and slung my pens in my bag at a speed that emphasised my reluctance. Here you are. I'm sure Lucas will be glad to have you, Mrs. Pemberton said, pointing. There was no need for that phrasing, which caused a ripple of sniggers. Lucas McCarthy, an unknown, who kept himself to himself, like all future murderers. Not social contagion, but not who I would have chosen. He was lean, with a pointed chin. It gave him a slightly underfed look. He was Irish, signalled by the scruffy, short, tar-black hair and pale skin. Some wags called him Jerry Adams, but not to his face, because apparently his older brother was Nails. Lucas was looking up at me, warily, with dark, serious eyes. I was taken aback by how easily I could read his startled apprehension. Would I make any disgust towards him humiliatingly public? Was this going to be harrowing? Did he need to brace? In seeing his concern, I suddenly saw myself. I felt bad that I was the kind of person he'd fear that from. Sorry to foist on you, I said as I dropped down into my chair and felt the tension ease by a millimetre. I liked to use elevated vocabulary, but in an ironic, throwaway manner, in case everyone thought I was trying to show off. Mrs. Pemberton so had my number. Here's your question to work on together until the end of the lesson, and we'll discuss your joint findings on Friday. Is Wuthering Heights about love? And if so, what kind? Nominate a note-taker, Mrs. Pemberton said. Lucas and I gave each other uneasy smiles. You're the thinker, so I best be the writer, Lucas said, scrawling the topic across a sheet of lined A4. Am I? Thanks. I smiled again encouragingly. I saw Lucas brighten. I rifled my memory bank for any stray useful fact about him. He'd only turned up in sixth form, partly why he was someone out on the periphery of things. He always wore the same dark T-shirts, with half-faded-out pictures on them, transfers that had fragmented and splintered in the wash, and 3 red and blue pieces of string as bracelets. I recall some of the boys calling him the Gypsy for that, but not to his face, because his older brother was Nails. In the common room he often sat by himself, reading music magazines, Doc Martin boot-clad foot balanced on knee. I agree with you about Heathcliff. He's a werewolf more than a person, isn't he said. I realised I'd spent 2 years in the same building as Lucas, the same rooms as him, and we'd never had a conversation before. He spoke softly, with a slight Irish lilt. I vaguely expected a local accent. I'd paid him no attention whatsoever. Yeah, like a big angry dog. Lucas smiled at me and wrote. I don't know, it annoys me Cathy has to take the blame for the whole story, I said. She makes one wrong decision and everything goes to shit for generations. I suppose if she makes the right decision there isn't much of a plot. I laughed. True, then it'd just be Meet the Heathcliffs. Wait, is Heathcliff his surname? What's his first name? I think he has one name, like Morrissey. Or he could be Heathcliff. No wonder he's pissed off. I laughed. I realised Lucas wasn't quiet because he was dull. He watched and listened instead. He was like opening a plain wooden box and finding a stash of valuables inside. Was he plain? I reconsidered. It's not her decision, though.